Pinoy, kahit nasan ka man, kami ay mapapakinggan. Streaming worldwide. The future of radio in Manila, California, and Hong Kong. This is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio. Ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio. V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. Dahil mahal namin kayo. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio.
The views and opinions expressed in the following program are those of the program anchors and producers and do not necessarily reflect the policies and position of this station. Narito na ang programang magbibigay sa inyo ng mga unique branding propositions at maglalahad ng mga special customer experiences, brick and mortar man, personal or digital. Lahat para sa good retail shopping life that you deserve. Samahan na natin ang retail at transformation mentor na si Rolly Pagaspas at ang inyong technopreneur Charlie Diaz. Ito ang Talk.Shop.Asia. Talk.Shop.Asia. Talk.Shop.Asia sa V81 Radio Worldwide.
So, magandang hapon, Pilipinas, and welcome to Talk.Shop.Asia, the Philippine Retailing Industries Program and Communities on Business Exchanges. And welcome to our Season 16, Episode 200. So, well, this number is a milestone, and definitely we'd like to thank everybody who helped us put the show all together since March of 2016. That's 5 long years, no? That this program has been existing and on air and now on digital live stream and online air. Maraming salamat po sa lahat. And I'd like to take this opportunity to greet all our partners, the Philippine Retailing Association. Hello, shout out to Madam Evelyn Salire. And Pag-asa, shout out to Steve Kua and of course Mike Teodoro. And then Frontcorp, shout out to Chris Lim, and I'd like to say that we are having some prayers and giving some prayers in the name of Mr. Sammy Lim, our franchise icon leader, who's now in the hospital for a sickness. And shout out to PCCI, I'd like to greet Madam Bing Lim Hoko, and the new president, Mr. DK Uwico. And same goes to the Philippine Franchise Association, the Association of Filipino Franchisers Incorporated. Of course, I'd like to mention the president, George Widike, and to my good friends, Joyce Yu and Eric Kaig. And same goes to FIFA, or Filipino International Franchisers Association. Shout out to Rudolph Kotik and Lynn Dawa. MTFI, Makati Tourism Foundation Inc. Hello to my good friend Watts Villegas, the Executive Director. The Vanity Association of the Philippines, the Direct Selling Association of the Philippines. Shout out to Jet Mondihar de Leon. And of course, Leappreneur. Magandang hapon kay Jerry Ila, my good friend, who's also being the technical host of the other program of API. And of course, the V81 Radio Worldwide for our global group of Raleigh Vargas. Magandang hapon or magandang gabi na dyan. Magandang gabi na yan in California. And of course, shout out to Charlie Diaz, who's now in the hospital together with the clinic together with her sister, Milette Wolf and Charles Mata. And of course, Piano de Manila, care of Dorilyn Paviera, Mediacom Solutions, and to our the event organizers, Ad Asia, Global Link, Asia CO Events, and shout out to HRAP, our newest partner, care of Jello Guisan. Magandang hapon, Jello, and congratulations for your Bayanihan Act, which you did yesterday, giving food to all our frontliners. And siyempre, I'd like to meet our audience, siyempre, the global OFWs, no? And then magandang hapon sa lahat ng mga nakikinig from Hong Kong, Thailand, Japan, US, and then we've got audience also in Dubai, Abu Dhabi, and of course, Malaysia and Thailand, siyempre Australia. Okay, we'll hear more from them later on. And of course, to our retail stakeholders, magandang hapon. And of course, to our online buyers and sellers, I know that you're watching right now. And then thank you for patronizing us. And okay, our global linkages, our local partners, and of course, the global online public of the Philippines. Magandang hapon sa inyong lahat. And sorry for this episode 200, a magic number, we would like to hear the voices of the coaching industry. Okay, for me, the coaches have been in line with the mentors. I'm a mentor. And then with the consultants, I've been a consultant. But you know, for me, they're quite ahead because they do their services, they deliver their services over the online platform. And for that, I think they're very needed, much needed this time of crisis when we are all working from home and we ought to do all our things over online and deliver our services over the digital technology. Okay, so for that reason, for that rationale, I want to hear the voices of the coaches amidst this enhanced community quarantine. All right, so without much ado, I'd like to present to you our guest for today. Number one, representing the international coaches. He's a leadership coach, and he comes from Singapore, a member of the PCC. Please all welcome Tan Sui Heng.
Hi, good afternoon, Rolly, and
Hello.
viewers and listeners.
Yeah.
It's an honor to
Thank
be
you for
here.
making it. Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much
you for
to be
making
here.
it.
Yeah, and
Okay.
congratulations on the 200 edition.
Thank you, thank you. And of course, the next one is a very good friend of mine and representing the leadership and learning coaches. She's a past president of the International Coaches Federation Philippine chapter and a partner of the Leadership in Motion. Please all welcome Ruby Palma.
Rolly. Hi, everyone, and congratulations on your season's episode 200 on this first day of April. First day of April, we're going to be serious.
We have to be serious today to offset that blank.
No, it's not going to be a prank. And to all of the audiences here in the Philippines and all over the world, it's great to be back here in V81 Talk.Shop.Asia Radio once again to continue to serve our business community and leaders and to learn from each other and meet new friends. So
All
thank you
right.
for having us here again, Rolly.
Yes. Very much welcome, Ruby. This time, I would like to call on the one representing the business coaches. You know, if I say business, everybody is really on the lookout for this because, as you know, all the business are now closed, and we would like to hear how businesses will continue after this crisis and critical period. He's a partner of the Leadership in Motion. Please all welcome business coach Tom Delmar.
Good afternoon, Rolly, and good
Hello.
afternoon to all the listeners of V81 Radio, as well as those who are watching us via digital live stream. It's good to be here, and congratulations on a breakthrough episode, no, 200 episodes. So you must be doing something good and valuable. So keep
Yeah,
it
we're on
up.
our fifth year. Thank you very much.
I'm so
Okay,
happy to be back.
okay, very good. Our fifth guest, we shall call him later because he's having some difficulty about his internet connection, and definitely we shall now call him on the Q&A already because we will be putting him in. There might be some problem in the connectivity. Okay, so the fifth guest is the founder of Philia Shoes, and he's now the vice chairman of Charter International. His name is, of course, everybody knows him. A lot of the in the retailing vertical, his name is Joey Enriquez. Hello, Joey. So later on, we shall call on you. Hello, Joey. Okay, that's what I'm telling people, that there might be some connectivity. Okay, our tech people will now make sure that his connectivity will be okay during the Q&A. Okay.
Sir, please say hi po.
Hi, Joey. Okay, so we'll just make do because we ought to continue, and at least our audience know that there are about one, two, three, and of course one more. Okay, these are the lineup of coaches, no? So before I forgot, because I got involved in that connectivity issue, these are the lineup of coaches before I called Joey. Called Joey. They're multi-pronged and then international, professional, associate, leadership and learning, and business coaches. But on the other side of the fence, we decided to invite the business leaders, so which Joey is representing, and the other one I shall now call to get their insights on the crisis and coaching as well. Please all welcome. He's now representing the MSM Group, or meaning say the micro and small and medium business owners. He's the CEO of Snowrific Tea Cafe Group and others, of course. Please all welcome JC Valdepeñas.
Hi, good afternoon, Sir Rolly. Good afternoon to all our listeners, to our fellow guests, and of course to our coaches online. It's nice to be back here on Talk.Shop.Asia, and congratulations on your 200th episode. Such a milestone.
You're very lucky because your episode is 200. It's so easy to remember.
On April 1.
All right, without much ado, because we would like to give our audience a glimpse of how coaching is done and what is coaching all about. But before that, I'd like to give them a backgrounder on your insights about the situation that we are in right now, the pandemic, and the shocking and ECQ, or enhanced community quarantine. All right, my question is: we are now on the 19th day of the ECQ. What was your reaction when you got to know ECQ when President declared it? And have you thought of some contingency measures for your family and for yourself? And how do you plan to proceed from here while having your great time at your home? So we'll have first the ladies first because that's the culture in the Philippines. So we'll call on Ruby.
Yeah, when I heard about the ECQ, I actually welcomed the news because home with family, quiet time for some reflection about, life in general. Not so much work at first, but then as the days passed, the call to serve became really compelling, and I found myself busy with just helping people through my various, volunteer groups at church, my International Coach Federation, and of course my, school alumni, UP, I am UP High group. and then the local and global colleagues in Leadership in Motion. My recent week was filled with virtual sessions with clients individually and as a team. I anticipate more virtual support, Rolly, all complimentary at this point. We don't charge for our offers these days, our way of helping, such as this webinar and some more complimentary webinars coming up in the coming days to learn and grow together while complying with the government as a good citizen and keeping resilient and safe overall, keeping the family safe overall, because I believe, as one perspective would show, that the family and the home really is really part of the front line to battle this war against the COVID virus. And from here on, I believe that the way to go is to support our business leaders on their business continuity programs and other needs to cope. But many are quite resilient and holding strong. So I see an opportunity to partner with clients in their emerging needs through individual and team coaching. So that's from my end, Rolly.
Okay, so more or less, you're making use of your time to connect to your customers and provide some advocacy service to them while
Yes,
we are now on this crisis.
very much.
Thank you very much, Ruby. That's a very good benevolent action on your part. Okay, so we'd like now to have a response from the international scene, and we'd like to call on the Singapore-based international coach Sui Lei.
Yep. In Singapore, we do not have an ECQ. We have quarantine only for those who are suspected of, or they may be affected, or they may be in contact. Then we quarantine them. The rest of the population, we are free to move around, although we have lots of social distance regulations. And this is what
Okay.
we are right now. And that, for me, is this period, I spend a lot of time actually writing, reflecting and writing. I wrote the book previously. The book is about coaching in the moment.
Coaching in a moment, yeah.
Leaders, business leaders, leaders in organizations, how do you coach in the moment? Which doesn't mean, it doesn't take a lot of time. It is just one question and you're able to do the coaching. It is as simple as just asking one question.
Okay.
This time, I'm actually thinking a lot about change. How can we,
Change.
individuals, as teams, as organizations, change faster? And this will be the contents of this book. How to help people and organizations change at a faster rate compared to the changing environment. The COVID situation is a real point. When something happens, are we able to adapt and change fast enough? And this is the key to success.
Okay. Wow. So you're making use of your time writing, and I suppose that the quietness of the time brings you some inspiration and gives you the creativity needed to write another book.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah. Very good. Okay. Now, thank you, Swing Leng. And now we'd like to hear from the business coach. A lot of people will be interested to know his response. May I call him Tom?
Yes, thank you, Rolly. Well, in the business community, one of the buzzwords we have is really VUCA. We live in a VUCA world, which means volatile, uncertain, complex and ambiguous. So when the enhanced community quarantine was announced more than 2 weeks back, I think that this is VUCA as VUCA can get. This is unprecedented. And a lot of people resort to, let's say, anxiety and even, apprehensions and fear over what could happen to the businesses. Because remember, our business leaders are really committed to delivering certain revenue objectives for the year. And we are only in the first 2 months of the year, So I think that is really something that shocked a lot of people, and in this level of magnitude and intensity. And as far as I'm concerned, the way I actually manage myself in these times is really about taking stock on some energies that are unspent and channeling it more to learning. So now with my client, I am doing more than 2 times in a week, just touching base, continuing the learning intervention, the coaching intervention, so that there is some sort of business continuity. Because one of the functions that I work very closely are the frontliners, the salespeople. And salespeople at this time, when you quarantine them, there is a feeling of helplessness and isolation. So we are converting this energy into something that can help them prepare mentally and also in terms of skill set and competency, so that when business reopens, maybe a few weeks from now, hopefully, then they're ready to go, not just first gear, but really already on the third, fourth gear, so that there's less downtime when business reopens a few weeks from now.
All right. So what I think is you're also connecting to the customer, and you see this as a learning, two-way learning process with them, because you maintain them as your client. At the same time, you see what's happening on them, and then you create some insights and some recommendations to your clientele.
Yes, absolutely. And I think that the technology is really an enabler of our profession, because while we prefer, especially Filipinos, we prefer more face-to-face. But of course, we are not allowed to do that now in this ECQ. So technology, the platforms like Zoom, StreamYard, even Viber conversations are really aiding us to still continue with what we're supposed to do.
Yeah. Coaching for me is empowerment. So I think if people will ask me what made you start your digital transformation, I always answer COVID-19. Because I'm now forced to do this. And now we are now on digital stream and online air. And I was told and taught how to do all those technical manipulations and consideration, so that we can now be on broadcast. I'm also learning this time.
Yes. No, Rolly, now that you've mentioned your accidental, dive into the digital platform, I think that is very true. And it really is one of the insights that, we also have exchanged with some of my clients, because in Chinese, crisis is actually made of two characters, and it's pronounced Wei Ji, which actually symbolizes danger as well as opportunity. So for every crisis, for every danger, there is an equivalent opportunity, and our task is to really exploit and optimize that opportunity that we have.
Yeah. On a social advocacy service business, yeah. I agree with you, Tom. All right, so thank you very much, Tom. And this time, I'd like to call on the other side of the fence, the members of the other side of the fence. First of all, let's call on JC, as he represents the MSMEs.
Yep. So it's always a challenge to navigate through very uncertain times. We need to ensure that we minimize ongoing fallout. It will require, of course, a lot of leadership. To keep fear in check, we need to rethink the risk beyond its usual parameters. And leaders should need to step up the ladder to ensure that there's calmness from within the organization. For the past several days, we've been finding or using the crisis as a catalyst to doing our business better. We've been reaching out to our franchises, for instance, franchises of Snorific Tea, to ensure that we think of ways on how we can better innovate, re-engineer, how do we get closer to our customers and be more creative in terms of how we distribute our products, how do we market, what are the internal communications that need to be firmed up. While it's true, of course, we live in an environment where there is VUCA, and Mr. Tom earlier enunciated about this, that there's a lot of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity happening at this point. But there is, of course, also a way to innovate things, and that is through how leadership can step up and ensure that there's a quick turnaround. So in our case, for instance, we created another acronym for the VUCA instead of the negative connotation of which I think it's important to always define your vision. What's your understanding? How can you be more clear and concise? And how can you be an agile leader in an organization? So we've been doing a lot of this lately. We've been providing our stakeholders a lot of insights, materials, while there is a lot of time spent on pondering on how we can innovate things. I think it's important to equip them as well with the resources that they need to become better leaders in their own respective businesses.
All right. So I'm mesmerized with your new definition of VUCA. Can you repeat it? What is V?
Yeah, V is the vision. V is
Vision,
vision, and then U is
understanding,
understanding, and
and
then C
then
is clarity,
clarity,
and then A is agility.
agility. Wow, that's another one for the books, and all of those mentors and consultants ought to learn from you, JC, because you're
Yeah.
making use of your time in thinking so that you can come up with something new. I think we should post that as a challenge to them later, as they will now
Yes.
have a coaching session with you. All right.
Yes.
So thank you very much, JC. And last but not the least, I'd like to call on, okay, Joey. Is Joey in? Okay. Hello, Joey. Okay. So can you make your audio a little louder so that the audience can hear you? And I'd like you to answer what's your response to the ECQ? What are you doing now? And how do you see this for your company and for your customers?
Well, I want to introduce my company first. It's Charter International. It's one of the units of CNC retail for department stores. Last year, 2019, was a banner year for us, led by setting growth in previous years. Early January was great until SARS erupted. But again, bukan naman, di ba? I think the coronavirus which led to a lockdown extended beyond the Chinese New Year holiday. Largest human migration in the world for Guangzhou buying office. All our merchandise of baby shoes and bags are all made in China.
Okay.
And some of our suppliers were scheduled to go on holiday here in Manila. They had to cancel and instead they sent about 18,000 of big cats and dogs. In the declaration of enhanced security quarantine, we compensated for 100% salaries for all regular and other agency branch employees. 40% of their salaries for probationary. As our head office personnel work removed. We were still doing this in 2020 when this all happened. And now, as an activity for further tool, we are documenting all our processes into a company manual. One of our department store business partners even offered a 5,000 cash discount for our sales associates, aside from waiving the signer's fee. As you know, Dolly offered 5,000, and now President Duterte announced 200 million in package. Which really it will be a great help for our people. No? To keep positive, we have regular social media posts reminding people how to post their gifts with them. And most importantly, obey the ECQ and stay home. We are seeing a few starting interactive activities with our social media pages. As a homeowner, we have been soliciting donations and distributing back to our parish, San Pedro Sanctuary. And now COVID-19 is unlike any previous crisis affecting the world today. In any traditional crisis response approaches will not be sufficient. The process of procurement and happening to occur will create major disruption in itself, irrespective of the seriousness of the virus threat. We have to prepare for the worst. And be thankful if it's not eventually, and the way that we approach it and not starter. There will be a substantial revenue disruption, leading to a potential liquidity crisis for many. Recovery may not be quick. We have to pass for multiple quarters of lower revenue. Maybe not to the revenue level of 2017, or maybe about a 25% decline versus last year. Employees and customers relying on cleaner and snacking. We have already appointed a fully dedicated COVID-19 war room team focused on this crisis all day, every day. And our team proceeds possible options based on how scenarios unfold. Slightly more aggressive than what has been so far. Customers who change behaviors in that reversal way. They may accelerate prior trends like e-commerce, work from home, or over buying patterns for merchandise. Go on both sides now and set you up for success in 2000 looking for ways how to mitigate the impact of COVID-19. Again, may I congratulate you, Ronnie, on the 200 episode of Talk.Shop.Asia.
Okay.
Thank you very much for having me here.
Okay. Thank you very much, Joey. I just put in a capsule the things that you mentioned so that our audience can better understand it. So as a whole, Philia, together with its company Charter International, has not experienced so much challenges and hurdles, only on the ordinary kind of hurdle of setting objectives, meeting them. But this is the first time that the company has experienced this kind of an epidemic thing, no? And then you're now told to respond. But your immediate reaction was to comply and then cooperate and support the government because you were thinking about your employees. So you've already did them a good service by providing their salaries. And your challenge now is how to be more productive because you've got a sales quota to reach for this year. And then that's the biggest hurdle that the company is facing now, as like the other bigger and big companies in the market. Correct?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Okay. So I won't give you much time because
Part of
Ano?
family organizations support well-being of their employees.
Oh, yeah.
Support their growth and prosperity. And
Yeah.
our management was the management was the company in 1988, 2 years ago. We have experienced steady and exponential growth. I believe it's because of the value and culture of the family organization.
Yeah. Okay. First of all, I congratulate you for having such action, a management decision. And then you know that because you love your employees, the revenue and the customers will follow through. Okay. Thank you very much, Joey, because your internet is not so stable. I won't give you much, we won't ask you much questions. But stay put and then we shall be back together with the coaching session. But you're exempted. We will now do your coaching session once the ECQ has been lifted. And definitely we'll see more of Philia, Philia Umo, and all the other brands of Charter International. Maraming salamat, Joey.
Maraming salamat. Thank you. Thank you. And best regards to everyone in the panel. Today, Mr. Coach Stan Swingen, Chris Ruby, and Coach Tom.
Yeah.
God bless.
God bless also. Thank you, Joey, for saying yes to a phone patch. Okay. Maraming salamat. All right, so back to our episode right now, which has the video stream. And this time, I'd like to get into the second segment. But before we can get into it, let's pause for some break on our studio.
Tatak Pinoy, the future of radio. This is your all hits, all Pinoy internet radio station. This is V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, Ito ang radio ko, VA1 Radio, VA1 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo, VA1 Radio, VA1 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, VA1 Radio.
All right, so we're back for our second segment. So still watching and listening to Talk Shop Asia, Season 16, Episode 200. And this time we are now featuring the topic, Voice of the Coaching Industry on this ECQ. And as we have already introduced our guests, we'll now get into the second segment, which is the strategic recommendations to our business stakeholders, this ECQ. I'd like to hear from the coaches themselves. So I'd like to call them again. Ruby, Sui Heng, and Tom, and JC.
Yes.
Okay, so during this time when we are focusing on so many things because we have ample time, and then definitely we are doing things now online like me, and I got to use the digital technologies, the digital funnels, and because of the there's a limit on being near to each other because of the social distancing, and for me, I think there are so many businesses who are now thinking of readapting and repurposing their business services and models. So in line with that background, I'd like to ask you one question for all of you. What is the one thing you do now to keep yourself positive in this climate? Okay. Again, ladies first. First in the opening, Miss Ruby Palma.
Well, there hasn't been a time that I and the family prayed more. We pray fervently, we pray every day, we hear mass every day. So that has been one blessing. But at the same time, while doing this, a quiet and reflective time also gives me an opportunity to know and understand myself, look at my own life in general. So there's no more satisfying or satisfaction than knowing that I am continuously discovering about myself in this process. So that's keeping me positive every day, because if I discover my purpose more and more every day, I become more self-aware.
Wow, that's very soulful. That's a Miss Universe answer, Ruby.
So much time to just reflect.
Discovering oneself is what keeps Miss Ruby Palma very positive this time. Okay, let's hear from somebody from Singapore. How do you keep yourself positive in this time of crisis? We hang.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time on thinking at two levels. One is the immediate. Yeah, certainly there are immediate things that we need to do. There are immediate things that we need to react and respond. But what keeps me positive is actually the other eye, right? The other eye is actually looking at the future. So while one eye is on current, the other eye is on the future. No matter how dark the situation is, there will be sunshine. After nightfall, there will be daylight. After rain, there will be sunshine. So the situation will pass. The question is, when the situation pass, what do I want to be at that point in time? And this is something which I'm planning and thinking a lot. And this keeps me actually energetic. That I like to be in a position where after this situation is passed, I want to be stronger in many areas. Yeah, at a family closeness, family members, relationships, and also work as well. Yeah, in all areas basically.
All right, very good answer. If Ruby, you've got a Miss Universe answer. Sui Heng got a Mr. Nationality answer, or Mr. Congeniality answer. We just want to make things on a light mode. Very good answer. So, Sui Heng is using this time for thinking, and then now and for the future with the rainbow out there waiting. Very good. Good attitude. So I'd like to call on Tom.
Yes, thank you, Rolly. What keeps me, sane nowadays is really about focusing on things that I can do, as opposed to wallowing in your self isolation. No? So, and in fact, I also make sure that I, think about other people. Focusing on other people allows you to be more helpful, to be more, let's say, empathetic and concerned about, and that keeps you energized. And as a matter of fact, to borrow the words of Alan Watts, no, he says the only way to make sense out of this change is to plunge into it, move with it, and join the dance. So I'm just joining the dance and making
man.
sure that I do the right steps.
All right.
Nice.
I will partner with you because I will sing a song.
And
Yes,
we'll
you
dance.
can
All right.
provide the rhythm then.
All right. So thank you. You're making use of your time by being productive without much thinking on your end, but just do it.
Yes,
All right.
absolutely.
Very good. So the coaches have spoken. They will discover, think, and just do it. Now the challenge is on you, JC. What do you do to keep yourself positive during this time?
Yeah, so it's really very difficult to keep yourself sane all the time given this
Oh,
crisis.
sane.
So I'm thinking of ways on how I can be more productive. One of the things is more visibility, perhaps. With the usual business climate, our employees may not see me around all the time. They may not hear from me on a daily basis. I usually just engage myself with key leaders in the organization. But now I try to go deep down the level, interact with all levels of people in the organization. I think everyone has to be comforted with the fact that there is a leader that they can hear, see, that they can voice out whatever concerns they have and provide them updates on what's happening out there, whether there are circulars coming from the government, there are any announcements, or how we can perhaps bounce back and what other alternatives they can do to be more productive as well. So it's time for self-reflection, a time for engaging with your employees, and as well as ensure that all your family members are doing the same thing, being more positive, and there's a lot more time to really reconnect with them.
All
So
right.
what's
Okay. So iba siya ha. So for JC, there's an issue of mental health because sanity, and for him to be sane, he has to be engaged. First and foremost, with his employees, the most valuable asset of his company. And that's a very good answer because you're now linking to something which is realistic because people are not they're not we are not accustomed to being alone because we are, aside from being a human being, we are social beings. Okay,
Yes.
I'm
thank you for that
interested to see
answer.
you. I'm interested to see you, JC, in your moments of insanity.
Wag, I
Hopefully
cannot
not.
be on air. All right. So I like to, from among the answers, I like to throw the next question to JC, because I would like to hear the most challenging aspect or hurdle he has right now. It can be personal, it can be business, it can be relationship, it can be family. So what are some of your, maybe just one, what's your most challenging hurdle right now during this time?
Mhm. So the main challenge right now is to be more relevant to our franchisees. In the business that we have, we provide franchising opportunities to micro business entrepreneurs who would like to be involved in the food delivery, in the food services industry. And so we offer them franchising opportunities. But starting January of this year, we saw a decline amidst the global pandemic. We've not been able to close a lot of engagements, franchise transactions along the way. And so with our existing franchisees, which we have about 108 as of the moment, majority of them are not open. So there's not any business going on. So as a franchisor, how do I make ourselves more relevant to our franchisees despite the the COVID crisis that we're currently experiencing.
All right, that's a very good challenging status. No? I think everybody experiences right now. How can a person, especially a CEO like JC, be more relevant to his customers and stakeholders right now, especially to his stakeholders, the franchisees, at this
Yeah.
point of the pandemic, COVID-19, and ECQ situation in the Philippines? Okay, before our coaches help you do that, I'd like to call on Tom so that he can give us some idea on what coaching is all about.
Thank you, Rolly. Well, coaching is an emerging discipline, no? And it is now gaining a lot of traction, especially during these times, because this is one of those personal development intervention that is not anyway limited by the current crisis, no? Because of the virtual platform. And since this is an emerging discipline, the term coaching has been used very loosely. And just to put everyone, including JC and Joey and all our listeners, I wanted to show you a video clip that more or less captures the essence of what coaching is all about. So this is actually lifted from the International Coaching Federation, which is the global authority in the practice of coaching. So let's listen to this.
Coaching essentially is a process that will help you to get to where you want to be in a much shorter time and to achieve the success that you want to achieve in life without doing it on your own.
Coaching is a guided process where somebody helps you through the power of questions and active listening come to your own conclusion. You have to get your own answers. And these are the best answers because you are the expert for yourself. So I think coaching is the leadership style of the future.
A lot of things I love about coaching, especially I love the moment when my coachee gets an aha moment or realize that, oh, I need to change, or even I want to change. And then start this passion. I'm witnessing that exact moment.
I love helping people. Love helping people work through things that have kept them stuck, have kept them playing small, have kept them from living to their fullest potential. And now I have the opportunity to help other people who are like me, well-educated, trained professionals who've invested a lot in a career. And I can help them to put all the pieces together and get in touch with what it is they really want to do and help them through the transition so that they can live the rest of their life really fulfilled.
So that is basically 2 minutes.
Yes.
And
All right.
based on the definition by ICF, which is the global authority of coaching, it is actually partnering with clients, like JC and Joey, and engaging them in a thought-provoking and creative process that inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. So that is the official definition of coaching as a discipline. And Rolly, with your indulgence, we want to break it even further, so that your listeners will be able to understand what coaching is at a more simplistic level. And since today is April 1st, we wanted to play a prank or fact game with you,
Okay.
So we're going to state some either a prank or a fact, and we will Sui Heng and Ruby will help me out on these items. No, so first question: coaching is focused on resolving pain points from the past and identifying past difficulties that occurred, causing hindrance to the individual's productivity of the present. And
It's
this
a
is, do you have any guests, Rolly?
Me, Rolly, that's a prank. It's
Yes,
it's a myth.
it is a myth because coaching is actually very future oriented and it deals with the coach's aspiration, plan of action, accountability, and follow through. So you have a prize, Rolly, when we see each other. I'm going to give you a
All
prize.
right. I want a vegetarian meal.
Yes, you got it. So I now pass on to Sui Heng.
Right. The second point is there are a lot of people who think that coaching is for people with the subject matter expert, meaning that you have to be an expert in order to coach somebody. It's a myth. It's not true because coaching, you don't need to be the subject matter expert. What coaching is actually a guided process to help you find your own answers. And as you just watch the video, your answers is the best answers because you believe in it, you own it. And this is one thing about coaching is that we believe everyone actually knows what to do, knows your solutions.
Yes.
Okay.
Another myth, coaching is best for poor performing people. I think there is a history to that. In the past, actually coaching is for poor performing people because companies will spend resources only helping their executives who are not doing well, especially people that they value. In my experience, there was a time where my boss looked for me and says, "Can you look for a coach for so and so?" And the reason because this particular young talent, he's having some issues. He's getting into some trouble, and we are looking for some help for him. But that was 15 years ago. Today, we know that coaching is for everybody. You think about sports, every gold medalist, every champion, they have a few coaches to help them support their success. So for business leaders, for organizations, for individuals, we actually will benefit when we have a coach to help us to become even better. I hand over to Ruby on the fourth
Yep.
point.
And another thought that sometimes confuses people is that they think that coaching is the same as counseling or teaching or consulting. It's not. It's because counseling is about healing, uncovering, recovering from past dysfunctions, and is similar to psychotherapy, and it's not coaching. Coaching, the fact is for very functional, emotionally sound people who want to achieve their fullest potential personally and professionally. So it doesn't have to have a problem when we have to do coaching, but we want to bring people to achieve their highest potential. So that's the fact of coaching. And the last one is coaching is determining the root cause of the problem. Asking the question, why did this happen, to prevent recurrence in the future is a myth. Okay, it's not just problem solving. It's about possibilities and uncharted grounds. So at this point, in this time of crisis and a lot of uncertainty, it's important that we all now begin to imagine, something new, something positive about the future. Solutions-focused conversations would oftentimes be energizing, empowering, and engaging. So this is the fact that coaching is in the realm of. So anything that has to do with mindset change, behavioral change is in the realm of coaching. So there you go. There you have it.
Yeah. Wow, very exact, no? So I think I'm learning at this point in time.
Yeah.
And I can be the one to be coached now, but I'm now your moderator.
You can do that offline, Rolly.
Yes.
All right, let's now get into this kind of a peer coaching. But before we can get into that, let's first pause for a break.
Saya sa mga Pinoy, mga kantang tatak Pinoy. Kahit nasan ka man, kami ay mapapakinggan. Streaming worldwide. The future of radio in Manila, California, and Hong Kong. This is V81 Radio.
Malayo ka man sa iyong pamilya, dito ay hindi ka nag-iisa. Tiyak ito'y iyong hahanap-hanapin, dahil ito ang nagpapasaya sa atin. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio. Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. Merong kwentong iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. V81 Radio, V81 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. Dahil mahal namin kayo. Para sa inyo ito, V81 Radio.
Okay, so we are back, and I'd like to welcome everybody again to Talk.Shop.Asia Season 16 and Episode 200 with the topic Voice of the Coaching Industry on this ECQ. But before anything else, I'd like to read some of our audience. I'd like to welcome Nikki Singin from Pasig, Gerard Horilla from Pampanga. They're watching live. And then my brother Well and Mike De La Peña, and of course, and then many others. All right. And I'd like to remind everybody that you can view us on Facebook Live and at YouTube Live. That's our viewing platform. And for the listening platform, we have our website. You can get into www.v81radio.com. You can use our mobile app, and you can now listen to us. Or you can listen worldwide to the Amazon Echo devices. That's you, no? And so you can just Google it, and all those things will now appear so that you can be engaged with V81 Radio worldwide. All right, at this point in time, so we shall now have our segment number 3, the actual sample of coaching. So it's our time to witness that coaching is future-oriented and it's discovery-based. and it can be applied to all because it has sparkling possibilities, and it's functional because it's emotionally sound. And therefore, we can, at this point in time, we have to use our imagination so that we can repurpose our business with the way they will do coaching for our representative of the MSME business line, JC Valdepeñas. Take it away, Ruby.
Thank you, Rolly. And at this point, I just like to contract the next process or conversation that's going to take place between JC and the coaches here. So this is just a glimpse of what could happen in a coaching conversation, but this is not really a full-blown coaching conversation because we have really limited time today, and we have three coaches in the room anyway. But just the same, we hope that JC can get value out of this conversation because JC will be needing to hear from you, a brief context of your challenge. And maybe you can use the same challenge you shared earlier, but just give us a brief description of that, and then frame your challenge in a form of a question that you'd like for us to coach you on. And then the coaches will after some time of reflection, we'll ask you questions, because powerful questions is the tool that coaches use to draw out wisdom from within, and we can learn from each other actually, so that it becomes a powerful conversation that moves forward, that moves you forward. And then just before we end, maybe 15 minutes into the conversation, we will debrief, see how this conversation has been of help to you. Is that okay?
Yes.
Okay. So JC, tell us more about what is it that you want to talk about.
Yeah. So when we started experiencing this crisis, of course, it's a very disruptive experience. The lockdown measures imposed by the government will limit our operations. Our franchisees won't be able to open their stores and generate revenues for themselves. Of course, that's a very anxious situation. And our hope as a franchisor is, how do we become more relevant? How are we to be seen as a partner of our franchisees or stakeholders relevant? What kinds of services can we still provide them? What options can they do in this lockdown period? So those things are the things that poses as a business challenge for us currently. And I think it's one of the things that we need to ponder upon and to be able to deliver exactly the kind of expectations and services that we can provide them despite the lockdown measures.
So JC, what I heard from you is that there's a feeling of anxiety. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct. Anxiety because we don't know when this will end. We know that it will end, definitely end. We will soon experience sunshine, but we don't know exactly when that will be.
And I also heard that you say you want to be relevant. You want to be able to provide services and some options for the business. Given all of this, what is it really that you want first for us to talk about?
I think how do we make our relationship with our franchisees more relevant? What options can we do for them? I think that's the business need currently.
When you say relevant, tell us more about that. What do you mean by relevant?
Yeah, relevant is when we are still seen as a partner, where there is still visibility on our part, where we can still provide guidance and support despite logistical challenges. What is it that they can do to be more productive, and what is something that we can do to contribute to that productivity level?
I'd like to invite the other coaches, but just one more question. When you say we, JC, who is we?
We would be the members of the board or the officers of the company. So that would be myself, my business partner, Danny, and other officers of the company as well.
Okay.
Right. Much earlier, you talk about VUCA. The
Yes.
first one is, I thought that was brilliant. I thought that's brilliant. Talking about the vision. So in terms of the vision, what is your vision for the franchisees? Your picture of the future.
Mhm. Of course, we want to be one of the top franchising companies offering authentic Taiwanese milk tea drinks and beverages in the industry in the next 5 years. That's mainly our vision, to be the premier franchise company of choice by our franchisees.
Yep. So I can see you're going to the big vision, yeah, of being the top franchisor, yeah. What about the vision, the picture of this of the relationships you mentioned about the having a relevant relationship with the franchisees, yeah. Imagine by the end of COVID, I don't know how long it takes, but by the end of COVID, what do you see or what do you imagine to be the type of relationship that you have with your franchisees?
Yeah, I'd like, of course, for us to have a better partnership. We've gone through this crisis, and at the end of the lockdown period, we still emerged successful. And that while we were in the crisis situation, a lot of the things that we wanted were actually realized. For instance, if we are to provide them tools and resources that they need to better manage their businesses instead of just doing or operationalizing things, there are business concepts that they can execute, I think. And that's how we want things to be after the quarantine period.
Yeah. I think that's a pretty good picture. What about suppose you are the franchisee, you we kind of change position, yeah. That you are now the franchisee. As a franchisee, and by the end of COVID, what do you hope that you will be as a business?
Yeah, so I think what I do like is learn something from this experience. That there always has to be enough and sufficient preparation, no matter how things are. You may be experiencing a lot of positive outcomes. There are accomplishments that you may be achieving, but you just need to be prepared because you never know when a crisis hits you, and it really will hit you very hard. So I think it's something that we would have to learn in the process. And by the end of the lockdown period, I think our franchisees should have an appreciation. That's something that this period may have posed a lot of challenges, but there's still a sense of appreciation from the experience itself.
If I may just ask one more question, if apart from having this appreciation of the need to prepare, what else do you think as a franchisee, talking about you are on the other side, what else would you like to become?
Yes, I'd like for our franchisees, of course, to be successful in terms of managing their respective franchise businesses. Sometimes we are very quick into just providing them operational manuals. For instance, it's a 500-page document, and I would want to assume that everybody reads that document in its entirety. Hopefully, yes, but I am not really sure if everybody does. But I think given this period of self-reflection and a lot of time can be spent to reading those manuals, they become better business owners of their franchises.
So let me pause at this point. JC, just to summarize what we were hearing at this point, you said that you wanted to know more about how you can be more relevant to the business today, and as a partner to your franchisees, you would like to be able to help them learn in this situation. My question to you is, as a partner and as a leader of your business, how would you want to be known for in these times of crisis? What kind of leader would you like to be known for?
Yeah, I'd like to be known for a person that has not left them amidst this crisis. Somebody that still is very visible for them, that they can rely on, that we share in the pain, we share in this experience, that we are together all throughout this crisis. But I've never left them hanging, and that I'm still the franchisor um, who have been committing a lot of support to them despite the crisis situation.
We have
That's
5 more minutes, Tom.
Yes, that's very good to hear, and I think that leadership. I mean, sterling leadership skills is really what's needed in this time, no. And I think one of the tasks of the leader is really about mitigating what is the immediate and short term, no. And I'd like to take you through the point that you raised very validly earlier about the potential impact on the revenues, no. And as a matter of fact, you mentioned that at the start of this pandemic, you see a decline in terms of the number of franchisees within the network, no. So I wanted to pose this question to you. Maybe this is something that you can think about. What partnerships can you potentially activate or do more of in order to at least mitigate and ensure business continuity despite the lockdown?
Yeah. In our case, for instance, we have two company-owned stores that are still open at this point. We've engaged a lot of delivery companies such as Grab Food and
Very
Food
good.
Panda to deliver for us, and that keeps the business still thriving on despite the crisis. And then, and in fact, good thing because we're able to provide livelihood continuously for some of our employees. At the same time, also from the frontliner perspective of our Grab delivery partners, they're still getting a portion of our businesses, so which is still a good thing. So I think there's an opportunity to also expand those services, those lines to our franchisees who have the means as well to reactivate their businesses and engage with these delivery partners that we have.
We're
Awesome.
almost time's almost over, but just another question to JC at this point is, if there are 3 things that you were learning from this conversation and you'd like to focus on to be a relevant partner to your business and to your people, what would these 3 things be?
3 things would be more visibility. By visibility, that would mean providing them transparency on how things are currently. Are there any updates coming from the government sector about the lockdown measures, any improvement, or anything that we can provide them as additional thoughts or ideas? Secondly, I think apart from visibility, more visibility, I think dedicate more time to learning the business. Because it's a win-win situation. The franchisor's success is reflected by how successful franchises are. So it's not just the franchisor running the business, it's actually our franchisees. And if they are successful in the way they manage their businesses, they are at this point dedicating more time to study, leveraging on information, technology, or other means to educate themselves on business management concepts and principles, then I think ultimately everybody will win. And then, of course, more importantly, the third aspect, apart from that, would be what is it that we have learned from this crisis? We need to be more steadfast. We need to ensure that we have business continuity plans firmly farmed out, and that's how things should be, so at least we are not caught by surprise in any crisis situation.
Right. So you mentioned about the visibility, time, and then to learn. Yeah. And earlier on, you talk about the opportunities, the opportunities to do something different, like for example, more delivery and so on. Yeah. I'm just thinking, what will be something concrete, some concrete actions that you'll be taking after this conversation?
Yeah. One concrete action would be, is your question after the lockdown or amidst the lockdown?
After today, after this conversation.
Yeah. After this conversation, of course, everything that I said should be more, more visibility. It's not enough to assume that just because you send out a message that it's taken immediately. I think there has to be clear way of explaining things. Right now, I just, for instance, for our employee population, I send out general announcements coming from reliable media outlets, but I think I need to make it to a point that they understand exactly what those messages are. If I need to interpret it in such a way that they can appreciate it more and fully understand what those things are up for them. So I think that's where the opportunity is. In terms of the success of how I define successful partnership with our franchisees to be more productive, I think instead of just providing them the tools and resources, how can I perhaps call them rather than relying on just sending out information over Messenger? I think it's important to catch up with them by calling them individually, ask them how they are and what support is needed from us. And then I think lastly, it's important also to consider that to make them realize that we are a franchisor, a partner that they can rely on amidst this crisis.
Very good, JC. You've been very expressive, clear, and you have clarity of thought. So, what has been helpful for you in this conversation thus far?
Yeah, I think what's very helpful is that there are a lot of things that are very easy to pick up, but I've not been picking them up. These are fruits, low-lying fruits, unfortunately, that I've not been able to execute immediately. But now this coaching session has taught me that these things are things that I have the answers on. All I just need is to execute and be able to provide rigor and be able to follow through on the actions that we will implement going forward.
Thank you, JC. You've been very, I hope you learned a lot from as much as we did from this conversation, but we're just, a chat or a call away. So,
yes.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Back to you, Ronnie.
All right. So I think it was very, very clear that number one, the coaches asked the timely and the right questions to JC on the conversations. And JC on his part knows of course, he knows his vision, he knows his direction, but he was able to be clarified, understood, and challenged by our coaches so that he can now direct and be moved up, so that he will now achieve what he wanted. But for the longest time, he already has it in the back of his mind, and he knows it exactly. All right, so that's a very good coaching session. Thank you very much, coaches. And of course, for the part of JC, thank you very much also. You're a very good and a very smart CEO representing the MSMEs. Maraming salamat. All right, after this, we shall pause for a short break, and then we shall now have our extra after this station ID.
All hits, all Pinoy internet radio station. This is V81 Radio Worldwide.
Ito ang paborito ng bawat Pilipino. Basta all hits, all Pinoy, panalo. iyakan at tawanan. Kahit nasaan ka man, ito'y mapapakinggan. Oh, PA1 Radio, PA1 Radio. Ito ang radio mo, ito ang radio ko. PA1 Radio, PA1 Radio. Dahil mahal namin kayo. PA1 Radio, PA1 Radio. Para sa inyo ito, PA1 Radio.
All right, so we're back, and we're now on our last and extra segment. And first of all, I'd like to congratulate our coaches for being a very good sport, because I know that they're also doing all those things that they mentioned a while ago. They're writing a book, they're engaging with their customers, and they are also reaching out and making use of their time to do action at this point in time. And on the part of JC, maraming salamat also, because I know with your problem, with the challenge that you have right now, you were able to still be here and now receive such kind of a support from our coaches. All right, so now I like to tell everybody that I think coaching is one of the best tools that you can make use of in doing things like learning and then discovering and then repurposing your business to this point of ECQ. And myself, I'm endorsing this coaching that you now can use, avail, and embrace during your many ample time. Wherein right now you're challenged to repurpose, readapt, and rethink, re-strategize your business while we are still on this crisis. All right, so I'd like to call on our lineup of resource person, and because I'd like to challenge them to at least provide a general advisory or tips for our general online public. Ruby?
Okay, the tips that we'd like for them to take away would be that wisdom is within. You know, we are in this pandemic or crisis period, but we have survived. We are resilient people, and we just are grateful for every day that you know, the Lord continues to save us and give us another chance to have a better life and a better future, to change our ways. And so my tip is just continue learning, continue experiencing what it is, and be positive. That's my tip at this point.
Thank you, Ruby. And I'd like to hear from Sui Heng.
Yes, I want to follow up from what Ruby says. Resilience. I think the human race is a very resilient people. We are very highly adaptable. So I believe all of us will be able to adapt and go through. I have an image of a picture of the military, right? When they fight, you have a choice of, we call this hunker down, right? Means that you kind of cover yourself and then wait for the storm to pass. Or you have a choice of hunker down, but at the same time, try to take opportunities to look at the horizon. Yeah, looking at the horizon, there's a rainbow beyond that. There's a silver lining, and I believe looking at the silver lining, looking at the rainbow, this is going to be the motivating factors why we will go through and how we are going to go through this COVID situation. So that's my advice. Yeah, look out for the rainbow.
All right, thank you, Sui Heng. And I'd like to call on Tom.
Well, my advice is really to our listeners and to those who are watching us via digital live stream is to speak to a coach if you haven't tried one yet. This is the best time because for two reasons. One is you have time, and secondly, there are a lot of coaching organizations that are offering coaching for free. No? So this will be a good time to really experience the power of coaching. This will really help you resolve not just business issues, but any issues which you might have concerning the COVID-19 crisis. So try it.
I'd like to
All
add
right.
to Tom's offer, Rolly.
Yes, yes, yes. Yes,
Uh,
Ruby.
because the association we are in, the International Coach Federation in the Philippines, is offering complimentary coaching sessions. So if you're interested, just talk to one or to us. We're also in our own company, Leadership in Motion. We're offering also pro bono coaching services at this time to journey with you, our clients, and our generally, so that we can be supported during this period of time. And just feel free to connect with V81 or with me, Ruby Palma, ruby.palma at limglobal.net. And also, we invite CEOs, business leaders at this point, especially to our complimentary webinar on September 7. It's entitled Leading the Business in Crisis. So it's a global webinar. So let's learn from global leaders on their own challenges and their own solutions also. To this
April
challenge.
7.
Ruby,
No? April 7.
April 7.
Yes.
April 7. Yes,
Yes.
Okay,
9
all right.
to 10:15 a.m. Philippine time.
All right. And lastly, wait, before you say, JC, so the coaches have spoken. Use your wisdom, see the silver lining, and discover and experience your time this time via coaching. Okay, and from the part of the business, JC?
Yep. So I'd like to focus on the other acronym for VUCA, which is Vision, Understanding, Clarity, and Agility. These are the four things that any organization should do in order to conquer what the current crisis or chaos that we are experiencing. So in line with vision, I think it's important to keep the big picture in mind. We need to know our organization situation and work towards it. Let's not react easily to circumstances in a manner incongruent with our stated vision. That's very important. In terms of understanding, we need to create a sense of security among our team by sharing information, appropriate, relevant, and factual information, strategies, and results. Let's not spread fake news at all. Clarity, we need to distill a vast amount of information down to what's more important, something that our team members can appreciate and can easily understand. And of course, agility, we need to empower our people to make key decisions and generate rapid feedback loops. So let's push accountabilities forward. I think the great lesson here is that hope doesn't win battles, nor do the best battle plans. Success in chaos is a combination of culture and the elements of VUCA, which is vision, understanding, clarity, and agility.
All right. Wow. That's for the books. That's one for the books. All right. My good friend Dean Pax Lapid will always say, hey, that's a new thing for me to learn. And yes. So this time, as the business sector represented by JC has spoken, you have to see VUCA on a different perspective. Now with a different acronym. And don't forget to see the biggest picture, because the biggest picture will now be handled and the driver will be you. All right. Magandang hapon at salamat. Pero before we end, I'd like to mention some announcements on board. Did, can we show some pictures? Okay. Okay, and total number of COVID cases in the Philippines as of March 31, 4 p.m. is 2,084. That is being brought about by more testing kits now available as donated by several countries. And our number of deaths is 88 and our recoveries is 49. I like to focus on the recoveries I like the recoveries to be bigger than the deaths so that we can say that we have flattened the curve. Okay, next. Dean? All right. So V81, Talk.Shop.Asia V81 would like to thank our delivery workers. No, so this time we'd like to focus on them because they made things happen so that we can have our food, our medicines, and so many other things that we need for our everyday life. Maraming salamat, delivery workers. Siyempre, sabi ni JC kanina, so we would like to thank the Grab, the Panda, the Lalamove, and all other logistic support whose employees are the delivery workers who keeps on doing their job and making things happen for our constituents of the Philippines at primarily those in Metro Manila. Maraming salamat. Okay. Next. Ay, maraming salamat restaurant workers kasi you still making the food available. And thank you, like for example, the restaurant of JC, they still has 2 shops open so that people can avail of the food that they provide. Maraming salamat, restaurant workers. And of course, no, grocery workers, you're risking your lives because you are being engaged with a lot of people daily with a long queue of lines in the supermarket. Still, you are there. So we pray for you and we thank you. Coming from B81, Talk.Shop.Asia, and Transsource Media. And lastly, of course, the most important one, the healthcare workers. So many doctors have already died already, but still, they are not abandoning their front line. So maraming salamat, healthcare workers. Again, coming from Talk.Shop.Asia, B81 Radio Worldwide, and Transsource Media. At syempre, we would like to remind everybody that the digital platforms of B81 Radio, you can view us on Facebook Live, YouTube Live. That's type the B81 Radio, and then we have our listening platforms. You can have it, you can listen to us on our website, on our mobile app, and on all Amazon Echo devices. Maraming salamat, Raleigh Vargas, for making this thing happen. And of course, no, same with the coaches, Talk.Shop.Asia community, we're providing free consultation for your business repurposing. Alam ko marami na nalilito on how to do how to repurpose your business. We would like to help you achieve that, and then you can call Rolly Pagaspas, your retail mentor, and we shall now be posting our art card by tomorrow. And of course, syempre kasama ko rito, it's not only Talk.Shop.Asia, we have B81 Radio Worldwide, we have Transsource Media, our US group, we have the True Digital, our global group, and of course, Big Benta Corporation, our Asia group. All right. So, Ruby has already mentioned that on April 7, there's a complimentary webinar with other CEOs from other countries, and there's a virtual team coach certification program in May. Okay, and I'd like to tell you, Ruby, that B81 Worldwide is supporting LIM, and we shall provide that digital transformation through our digital business service happen to all of our community. All right. Sige, so I think it's high time for us, and then this is a very good episode. Remember, at episode 200, we'd like to thank everybody who made all our episodes happen since March 6, 2016, and we are already in our 5th year. Okay, so to all our program partners, 22 of them, maraming salamat. And syempre, to my co-host, Charlie Diaz, who's now in the clinic with his sister. We shall be with you again by Sunday, for which we shall have 2 episodes, 1 to 2:30 and 3 to 5. The first one will represent the hotel and restaurants owners, and then the second one will be the sports and fitness industry vertical. All right. So we shall now have our extra, and para po sa lahat, ang masasabi ko is just acknowledge the fear, but don't forget to do the things. Do the things as if not everything is normal. Don't panic, don't be afraid. Just stay put and support, cooperate, and help. And well, we are not alone in this pandemic. We are all together. We became victims on a one-to-one situation. But I suppose, and everybody will agree, that we shall win this one, not as one to one, but we shall win and heal together as one. Maraming salamat po at magandang hapon po sa inyong lahat at maraming salamat sa panonood. Ito po si Rolly Pagasmas, ang your retail mentor, and we shall be back on Sunday at 1 p.m. Good afternoon.
Ang programang magbibigay sa inyo ng mga unique branding propositions at maglalahad ng mga special customer experiences, brick and mortar man, personal or digital. Lahat para sa good retail shopping life that you deserve. This is Talk.Shop.Asia. Talk.Shop.Asia. Samahan ang retail and transformation mentor Rolly Pagaspas at ang inyong technopreneur Charlie Diaz. Tuwing linggo, 3 p.m. Philippine time. Dito lang yan sa V81 Radio Worldwide.